Hey guys, I thought today I'd do something simple and hopefully quick to get back into this, make some progress, and hopefully implement something new into the game, which I haven't done in quite a while. So my plan this time is to work on just adding armor into the game, or at least the concept of it anyway. So in my case, like I've gone over in a previous video, I'm using CSV data tables to represent the values and everything for everything that's used in the game, particularly items and things. So I'll just show you a quick example. I've already gone and done the table side of it. So we can see we've got just that this is the position they exist in, the item they relate to, and the ID of the armor. And they will be named, the named in the item data table. So you can see here we've got armor from 5 to 11, and you can see here we've got 5 to 11. So you hit just blah 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 blah, and I can call these. These would end up being unique names for armor, like, well, I don't know, in my case it's mech armor, so iron, steel, whatever, iron left arm, right arm, left leg, or some kind of, I don't know, back or something, whatever it ends up being. And then we have the simply the position that they exist in. And then I've got another table, which is the damage reductions that they have. So each armor can have 0 to many types of damage reduction. And so this is currently, it's just a float. I think my intention is to have it as raw integer values at some point. So because I've got a calculation for damage resistance that takes into account like low-ish values up to I'd imagine the maximum I'd want to go to is like 50 or something, and then if you have 5 bits of gear you get 250, and the calculation I use, it makes it come out to like an 80 something% damage reduction. But we'll get into that later. But for now, armor can have multiple damage reduction types. So, oh my god, that was so loud. Sorry. I need to like disable notifications or something. Actually, let me just do that real quick. Is there a... Yeah, there we go. I've toggled sound off. Right. So real quick in Java, obviously this isn't what most people were here for, but we've got there, this is the table it outputs to. This is the section where it like increments the ID automatically. So every time a new armor is created, it gets the last ID in the list and increments the ID by 1. Pretty straightforward stuff. And then we pass in this is like infinite array of parameters basically. So in here we've just got like new armor resistance data, 0.2 kinetic. I'm just going to change this to something a bit more sensible for now, because we will be using somewhat larger numbers than that. I'll just make them all 5 for now. And so in theory, if I wanted to, I could do this, paste it in, and we could change this. And if I hit go, if I close all of these, yeah, no, whatever, run it, reload it, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So the first bit of armor's got kinetic and fire resistance. So this is the ID of the armor. So it's got 2 resistances relating to 1 piece of armor. So that's how the data structure looks. And I can, obviously, as you can see, I can just add as many or as little as I want, change the values, and it works. And then we get the positions coming through. And then, like with all of them, we come into the data table stuff, and there I've done all of the boring bits. So I've made the armor table loader, so this gets the ID, the item ID, the slot, and as you can see, we get the slot from the text, so it's chest, head, left arm, left leg, right leg, and then we go into resistance table, and it's very much the same thing. Get RID, the armor ID, resistance, the type, and we're done. Right, it points to the right table, it pulls out the right values, and then again in here, you know, we've got an armor data table, an armor resistance table, so we're good to go. So all of the information is there. So obviously I need to be able to create armor. So I'm going to create a new I don't care. Okay. So we're going to create a new I'll leave that for now, a new class just to cover the creation of armor, which would be really simple. It will literally access the game instance, get the data tables, and then read in the data. You give it an ID, you say I want armor piece of ID this, and then it will create a new instance of armor, which again is a class we need to create, I believe. Yeah. So to start with, go into our C++ classes, items. So obviously we need armor to be able to create an armor. Okay, so we just have armor here. Create this. Give it a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, why is that so loud? Because that's deafening me, and I can imagine it's gonna annoy you. Okay. Oh my god. It's not gonna be in here, is it? I was just looking for the generic sound volume mixer. System sounds can fuck right off. Don't know why that's set so low. Okay, right, whatever. Now there's a bug currently when it generates classes and folders where it appends the folder name even if the file exists in that folder. So you just remove the folder that it adds. You can see here it's having problems with that. It shouldn't. There we go. So now we have armor. Now we want to go in here. So if I remember correctly, we should already have armor slots, change, armor data. Okay, cool. So all we really want is to define my spelling took a turn for the worst. What are we going for? So we want armor slot, and then f armor data. Yeah, and then it would be an array of f armor distance data. Okay, that's cool. Right. So this is the crux of it. So we just want to create some simple getters and setters. I'm trying to remember. Does this do it? I'm almost certain you can do it with resharper tools. I mean, obviously I can just do it myself in a few seconds, but I'm generate code, getters and setters. Look at that. Cool, public, blah blah blah. Let's just see what it does. Intriguing. How's it managed that? Okay, fair enough. Let's try that one again because that looks terrible to me. I mean, this saves me having to do it anyway. Const reference value. Okay, getter and setter access rights public. I virtual. Oh, okay, fair enough. Sure, why not? Huh. Okay, it's put them in some weird places. Let me just sort this out. Anyway, I mean, you guys know this is just generic getters and setters. I'll just lessen the amount of lines of code we have to read. We all know what this is. It's pretty obvious. Shove that up there. Get rid of that. Clean that up. Perfect. Right. So we've got our generic getters and setters for the armor. So now we want to be able to create it. So we want a static method. So static returns reference of armor, create armor, and we want we'll probably do it in a sensible order. Data. Just gonna put in because it makes so much easier. In slots. Shove this in here. Okay, there we go. And in theory, right, definition. So I'm gonna do the usual new object shenanigans here. So we want whoops, just that. Thank you very much. Armor equals to do. Good grief. Sorry, I'm all over the place apparently. We just need that. So armor dot set data dot set set slots dot set resistances and resistances. Simple as that. Right, so we've got an easy way to create the armor. It's got its values, we can access it. That's pretty much the only thing Armour will ever need to do until I actually start making materials and stuff for it. And so I guess one of the main things to bear in mind is this is extending UItem. And so we're extending a generic object rather than an actor. And the reason I'm doing this is because we want to be handling data as much as possible over like real what am I going for here? Real instances of things. Sorry, like at trying to think of the words. So like if it was an actor, it would have all this extra data that we just simply don't need. So for now, this is just a structure to hold the armor's data, and then you probably want the item data as well. How do we do this in? Let me just see how I do this with the weapons, because it's been a while. Weapon. I'm guessing I do it in here at the moment. Yeah, so we get gets the weapon data. Yeah, I mean it's doing it mostly in here, but that's fair enough. Creates a new object. Sets the item data to the item it finds up here. Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right. So yeah, because the all the armor's going to have is essentially a mesh that gets attached to the character. So at some point, the data in the armor will have a string that's the reference to the asset. And then we'll have, I mean, I can do it now, just as an example, but we would have something like where it just be like equip, and then equip and unequip. I think it's like that. Whoa, yeah, something like that. And then on equip, we would essentially attach the static mesh via a component onto the character with the usual relative offset or something like that. I've never worked with what is essentially clothing before, so I have to learn about how to do that. But in essence, this will work in the same way that weapons will, where you equip and unequip them, and then it just spawns the mesh at that point in time. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. An armor will be, let me think about this, because items don't exist. I'm just thinking of how my inventories and stuff will work here. Yeah, because we don't make a generic item. Items don't exist by themselves. We'll figure that one out again later. But typically the idea is that your inventory won't be a collection of actors. It will be a collection of structs. So your inventory will in fact be very simply an array of structures, and those structures literally just have the ID, their position in your inventory, and then the ID of the item that they relate to. And then when you load the inventory, it will get the icons for all of the items. So there'll be like a generic icon inside of this item data structure, and then it just renders that with maybe some special stats or something, but determined based on the type. And then like you hover over it and it gets more of the information for the items, because there's no point in loading that at any time soon and stuff. So the advantage of all of this is that we'll be dealing with the most minimal data. But this will be an instance of armor that somebody has equipped on their person. That's basically what this is. So the equip and unequip will be done in a different way anyway, so we'll get onto that. Okay, so we have this, and now we need to be able to generate it from oh, hang on a second, that's gonna let's just sort these out real quick. Blah blah blah. So you covered that. Okay, that's just in a file that I have literally no control over. Cool. Don't know why I'm getting errors from there. Everything seems to be going good. Let's turn that off now. Right, so once this is done, I'll create another class, which is the armor creator. And that will work in exactly the same way as the weapon one. And you just pass in an item ID and the world, because we'll need the world to spawn. I think we'll need the world to create the actual actors that then attach to the characters and stuff. So probably worth doing anyway. But this is all it will be, is a switch case on. Actually, no. Will it even? No, it will just, the only thing it will need to do is get the armor, set up the data from the armor that it finds. Obviously, it will get the item, get the armor from the item, and then it can loop through the resistances table and find the matching data from there. So it should be really straightforward, hopefully. Okay, so yeah, again, go into here. Items, new class, object. Same as before, get rid of these, that. Oh, yeah, go away, thank you, this is what we want. Yeah, okay, save, whatever, right. I just need to, whoops. Just need to check something, because I did this last time and it didn't actually add it. Yeah, okay, so we're here, cool. So this is, again, going to be pretty straightforward. So you want a static U armor. Create armor. In 32. Item ID. And then we do this. We probably want that, and then we want to actually we should understand what that is now. So in theory you should be able to do, okay, cool. Right, we'll come back to this in a sec. Okay, so what we want is, back in the old weapon creator, Oh yeah, that's why we need the world, so we can get the game instance. I'll just commandeer this. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so in theory, so we need exactly this. I'll explain in a second. Okay, so no, not what? We need gameplay statistics, I guess. Okay, excellent. What can be made a point of contact? I just don't care. What's this complaining about as well? Alright, yeah. Let's do that for now. Right, good. So in here, so we get the ID, and all we have to do is get the armor from the game instance, which I think, pretty sure I've made. Get armor data. So we just go instance dot get armor data, and this will return a armor data. Okay, and then we want for each armor resistant ARD in get armor resistance data table. I think. Yep, that gets all of our resistance data. And then we want a array of data resistances. Okay, so let me explain this. So firstly, in our get armor data, very simple. We are looping through all of the armor data we've loaded from our CSV. So the code up here, this loads the CSV file, and then we load all of our data here. So we get our armor data table, and it simply does wherever I can find it. Tables. Oh, yeah, it's a bit long-winded. So this will pass in every single line in the CSV it finds, and it's an array of arrays. So the first array is an array of each row of data, and then the array inside that is each column of data. So we're iterating over the rows, which is each row is then an array of columns basically, and then we get the data in the correct order. So obviously it's important to keep the order that we output it from here. As you can see, the order here is, it's ID, item ID, and position. And you can see item ID, and well, slot in this case. And then that comes through, the game instance loads all of that data, and then all we do is we iterate over it and find the matching item ID. That's good, and then we've definitely got the data for it. And I'm not going to put any like try catches or if the data doesn't come back successfully stuff, because if we ever try and find an item ID that doesn't exist, then something's probably gone horribly wrong anyway. and it's probably an idea for it to completely cop out at that point. So I'll probably put something more significant in at a later date. For now, it will do. And then what we do is we iterate over all of the armor instant resistance data. And now we simply check armor ID equals armor data dot ID. And then we go resistances dot add ARD. Okay, so as you can see, we're going through all the resistance data because there could be 0 or lots of resistances attached to each piece of armor. Then we're adding them to this array, and then in here we very simply all we have to do is fill in this. So we pass in the armor data, the slots. Hang on. The slot is part of the data, is it not? Yep, sorry, I was being an idiot when I made this. We don't need the slot because the slot is inside the armor data. So let me just clean this up a bit. Okay, alright, there we go. It's overcomplicating it. We go back to the armor creator, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Let's tidy this up a bit more, that will do. So we come into here and then we just add in resistances. And then we do a dot set item data because it still has item data it needs. We just put ID. So we've already got the item data here to find it in the first place. Sure, why not? We're good to go. So now I need to do pop into the player controller because this is where I'm doing it for at least for now, just as a means of well, just so we can test it out essentially. That's interesting. Okay. Create armor. So now we need to actually look at the data just to figure out which line which ID we want. Tables, armor data. So we start with number 5 because it's the item ID, not the armor ID. We do number 5, get world, done. And then we do armor A equals, and then we include the def. Oh, right, yeah, I just missed the pointer. There we go. Okay. Well, I need to close this, otherwise it won't work. Then we do this. Hopefully we'll see a value for that come out. Hit play, and here we go. Hey, oh, that's promising. Oh, would you look at that? So we've got data, our ID is 0, item ID is 5. You can see the item data as well, which is 5, headpiece, it's type armor. And then we get the resistances. and you can see we've got kinetic resistance of 5 and fire resistance of 5, and that's that. That's really cool. And that just works. That was all from data. It just pulls the data through, generates it, and we've got it. So now obviously we need to actually make use of said data. And for now, as usual, just to keep it simple, we're going to on the mech so we've got, you know, equipped weapon. Later on this will be a bit more complicated, I suppose. For now we want a T map, and this is going to be of E armor slot and U armor. Equipped armor. Okay. I'm not sure it likes U properties on maps. I'm going to assume not. So now we've got equipped armor, and in theory we can go into ear. And the reason I've done it as a map is because obviously you don't want to equip multiple armor in the same slots. So this will enforce it essentially. So we want a equip armor method. Now I'm going to do it like this, but I'll build a much better system for it later on. I'll explain that as well later. I'm just going to try and keep this simple for now because there's no reason to do anything particularly complicated for it. But I'll make an equipable interface later that makes this a lot easier. Okay, fair enough. So now we have the armor we're trying to equip, and so we can literally do equipped armor dot is it out? I thought it was put. It's probably add. And remove reserve shrink. It's been a while since I've used one of these. Well, there's find or add. That's typically what I probably use. Oh, why didn't it select the one? Come on. Thank you. I know add. So we go armor dots get data dot slot, and then we just put armor, and there you have it. So if we close this, fire it up again, put a breakpoint on there this time, so we know it gets the armor correctly. We're equipping the armor. I'll leave it there once this is working. Just gonna try and keep these short and sweet. 40 minutes isn't particularly short, but I'm sure people can skip around. Here we go. Alright, so we now have in our equipped armor, in the head slot, armor 0 with IMID 5 and 2 resistances with the amounts, and there you go. So we've just basically implemented armor into the game, and then you can see I've got my get damage resistance, the E damage type. And what I can do here is just literally go for U armor a in equipped armor dot get oh, it's generate. Oh, hang on, I have to do this slightly differently. Needs an out array. So we want T array. Well, hang on, what is it? It's just U armor. Blah blah blah. Yeah, U armor. Pretty sure that's how it does it. Yep. Okay. So that will output all of the values into there because we don't care about the positions at the moment. And then we want essentially a list of like a tally for damage resistance, right? So firstly, we want to check if a dot get distances. Oh, we need to do a loop in a loop. Hang on. And it's F armor resistance data. Get their resistances. If ARD dot type equals type, and then we simply have a int 32 total, and then we just do plus equals ARD dot resistance amount. Okay. 0. So now, right, hopefully you're following this. I know I've gone really, really quick. Loads of things can... I appreciate what they're getting at with const stuff. It's just a place with a structured binding. Actually, I'm curious about what this means. Oh, it's auto. How interesting. I don't like that though. Right, so what we've got, obviously we've got a lot of armor, so we can have potentially a lot of different armor equipped, and then obviously each armor can have multiple resistances. So we loop through all of our armor, we then loop through each resistance for the armor, check if it's the type that we're trying to get the damage reduction of, and then if it is the right type, we add the amount. And then our damage calculation is 100 divided by 100 plus the damage resistance. And then we invert it as a percentage, because this would return like 0.1 or something close to that. So in theory, in fact, let me just do a quick proof of concept. I think, what do we do in the projectile? Oh, we set it here. So I'm guessing projectile weapon, use weapon, spawn projectile. Is it calculated in here somewhere else? Find uses. Oh, here we go. Oh, and the weapon. Okay, fair enough. So we get the health change, blah blah blah. Damage type. Let's make this equal kinetic. Eventually that will get the do we do that already? Data dot no we didn't. Okay. I think I haven't added damage types to my weapons yet. That's just another line in the data table, in the weapon data table, and then I could literally do weapon data dot damage type. So when we spawn a projectile, we tell it what damage type it deals. So let's just follow this through. So we get a health change. So if we come into here, and we've got one there, and then we come into here as well. So let's hit play. Oh, that's interesting. I can't shoot. Oh no, what have I done? Okay, so all we've done is add this. And let's just see how far it gets, right? So we get here. The armor's still being got correctly. Yeah, resistances. One of them's kinetic, one of them's fire. Okay. Okay, target mech's fine. Fire shot, because we just changed this. So it doesn't get to spawn the projectile now. Oh no. What have I done now? Oh, that sucks. Oh, hang on. If I change one of the bits of data for the weapon we're using. Yeah, okay. But, hang on, which weapon are we using at the moment? Oh, I've gone past it. Sorry, this should have only taken a second. Great, weapon 1. So it's that one, right? It was probably that one. Let's check. 1 laser. Oh, it's a healing one, so that's fun. We want it to use number 4. I don't remember changing that. Okay. Recompile. Sorry, that should have taken a second. Just right click and follow it through. See what the maths does with it. Okay. Alright, pass. Whatever. For now, just know that we're going through, get all the armor, we calculate things. Fine, just make stuff const, right? I'm just very surprised that I've somehow broken it. But that'll do anyway. We've got Armour implemented. It pulls all the stats through, and the important bit is no matter what structure I use in the code, as long as the data can represent what we want, we don't have to care about anything basically. Oh, that will be why, because I've still got this open. Let me just yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry, right. Okay, hang on, let's start again. I'm just gonna close all of these. Hopefully it keeps the debugging. Sorry, it's because I had the actual table still open. I need to figure that one out. It's odd that you can't read data from a table that's open. Okay, here we go. Right. So we got hit with a kinetic damage because that's what we put in the weapon. So we're getting all of our armor, which is apparently empty. Well, that's interesting. Did we not run? Let me. Equip armor A. I mean, it didn't error, so it functioned. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, okay, maybe it's a bit out of sync. But we are doing the get damage resistance stuff. And for some reason it came back with a value anyway. Oh no, it just came back with 1. Okay. So it seems to think our armor is not being equipped. So let's just stop it. Get it back to here. I wonder why. So it's like the armor didn't go in at all. Armor 1. Oh, is it because it's not a U property? Sorry, these are all the little bits that can make a significant impact. So if you don't mark things as U properties, sometimes the garbage collector just deletes everything. So I'm just going to see if that's the problem, because it's quite likely. I don't understand why we're getting stuff in. Oh, right, hang on. This is set to entire solution. Current project. Okay. Right, fine, we'll just leave it like that. Right. Other bar, equipped armor 1. Right, so now we come into here. Don't care about that anymore. Right, so only take a second. Done. Armor empty. Okay. I'll look into that then, because that's a real issue. This seems to be having some issues. I'm not sure why. It's a map. Gets instantiated normally. This should add something, which it did. And then by the time we get here, it doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I'll find that out. Anyway, hopefully that's been somewhat interesting. But that's, you know, going from data into utilizing the data. That should be really useful. Once I I can start making this work with abilities and quests and enemy loadouts and randomizing bosses. You know, for instance, if I wanted to, I could create a randomized pool of weapons and armor for bosses just by, it would literally be an ID. I just give them a list of like maybe even a range of IDs that they can use, and then it just does a random lookup, and then when it spawns it does what we do here, and it you know, here it just goes you know, for every slot available, get a random ID in the armor list, make sure it's the relevant slot, and just give them loads of random armor. And then the same for weapons. And if we wanted to, we could make randomized data as well. So I could use I could instead not read from the databases at all and just use the weapon creator stuff to just completely randomize all of the structs. So it'd be you can do some really clever things once you make everything work with data. The only downside is, of course, everything's using tables, and if you build them wrong or change it somewhere, it can be a pain in the ass to try and change it in all the locations that use it. But typically it's all right. So we'll carry on like we are until we start encountering issues. But at the very least, I can have a static list of data that represents all of the items in the game. And I'll at least know that all works. So yeah, I'll leave it from there. So see you guys around.